Alright guys, we are back for more of Come and Party with Nick's birthday special. We just did a game of Mario Party 8 for the Nintendo Wii, and that was a whole lot of fun. We played a game on Koopa's Tycoon Town, and we were able to pull off a very good successful win on that. So, for our next segment, we are going to be playing Mario Party 9 for the Nintendo Wii. Let's see how we're going to do on this game. Good to see you again, Yellow Toad. Alright, let's go to the party mode. Alright, let's do one player, and we'll have 3 computer players with us. And for this segment, Nick requested me to play a Shy Guy. Alright, let's see which computer players we're taking on this game. Alright, we're playing against Toad, Birdo, and Koopa. And for the board that we're going to play on for this segment, Nick requested me to play on Blooper Beach. Alright, so we're going to have the computer players with normal difficulty, and here we go. Alright, let's see who's going first. Alright, I get to go first. That's awesome. Alright, so I'm going first, and I'll start off as the captain. Toad's going second, Burrow's going third, and Koopa's going last. Alright, let's go get those mini stars. So there's a dolphin. So, if we catch up to it, we'll get 5 mini stars as a reward. Oh, we start with a 6! How about that? So we do get those 3 mini stars. Not only that, we're already gonna catch up to that dolphin for an additional 5 mini stars. That's awesome. Alright, we're also gonna get a dice block, and we get a 4, 5, 6 dice block. Alright, let's move on to Toad. But now a Sushi's gonna appear right behind us. So if it catches up to us, whoever is captain will lose half of their mini stars. Oh, Toad gets a 6 as well. And there's 3 mini stars for him. He's also getting a dice block, and it's going to be a 4, 5, 6 dice block. It's the same one that I got just a moment ago. Alright, heading to Birdo. 2. She's now going to get herself a dice block. And another 4, 5, 6 dice block. Okay. Alright, Koopa's up. And he's gonna get a 1. He does get 3 mini stars. But it looks like that Sushi is gonna catch up to us. So that means Koopa's gonna lose half his mini stars, but he didn't have much with him. He only lost 2. Alright, anyways, time for a 1 versus 3 mini game. And looks like we're gonna play Mob Sleds.
Start!
Alright, let's go try to knock out Koopa within 30 seconds here. Nice! So that's 2 mini stars each for me, Toad, and Birdo. Alright, back to me. And that dolphin's back in play as well. Alright, I'll go and bring out my 4, 5, 6 dice block. Alright, a 5. We couldn't quite get to that dolphin, but it's alright. It was still worth a good try. Alright, now we're doing a free-for-all mini-game. Let's pick Goomba Bowling. This is certainly, without a doubt, my personal favorite mini-game on here. I always love this one every time I get around to playing it. Alright. So it looks like Toad's going first, so that means I'll play last. Alright, Toad's gonna get 8. Alright, now let's see what happens with Birdo. She got 10 right there. Alright, moving on to Koopa now. Oh, he was close to a strike right there, but he managed to get 17. Oh boy, I don't know about this. We gotta hope that we can get lucky, but let's see what happens. Oh, dang it, that was a bad throw. Alright, we get 9, but at least we barely avoided getting last right there. So we'll settle for 3rd. Alright, that will give me 2 mini stars. Alright, let's see what happens with Toad now. He's bringing out his 4, 5, 6 dice block. He gets a 4 out of that. I figured he was going to choose to go down so he can get to that dolphin right there for 5 mini stars. But he's still going to lose 3 mini stars here. And he's also landing on a Bowser Jr. space. Alright, I'm pairing up with Toad. Alright, looks like Mega March is going to be the minigame we're going to play. Alright, I think we should have a good chance to beat Bowser Jr. here. Alright, let's see how it goes.
Start.
Come on, we gotta hurry! Yes! Just barely got him right here in the end. That was impressive. Alright, so just like that, me and Toad each get 5 mini stars. Alright, now it's back to Birdo. And that Sushi's back for more. Alright, Birdo gets a 5 on that 4, 5, 6 dice block. That'll give her 5 mini stars. And it looks like she gets another 4, 5, 6 dice block. There's still something inside. And it's another mini star. let's go to Koopa. 3. He gets the dice block as well. And it's going to be a 1, 2, 3 dice block this time. Alright, my turn. Alright, anything but 1, please. Thank you. Alright, we roll 6. And now it's time for our first boss battle. Okay, let's go with Deck Dry Bones. Alright, here we go.
Start.
Alright, let's pay attention to these cards carefully. I'm going with that one. Alright, that was a good start. Alright, next round. I was trying to be careful with those Dry Bones cards. Alright, I'll pick that one this time. Very good. Burrow ended up picking a Dry Bones card, but it didn't matter for her, because she didn't have any points. Alright, let's keep going. This one. Alright, we're on a roll. And now he's mad. But now this is where things start to get a little tougher. Because Dry Bones is going to shuffle some of the cards around here in our deck. I'll pick this one. I got it right! And that's a Dry Bones card for Burrow, but looks like it doesn't matter because me, Toad, and Koopa all got the final attack bonus of +3. So anyways, we do take the win with 15 points. Alright, so I get 10 mini stars, and I also get a captain bonus of +5. I'll take it. Alright, now it's time to see the current standings. Alright, I'm in first place right now with 32 mini stars. Toad's in second with 20. Koopa's in third with 13. And Burrow's in last with 12. It's still anybody's game, but let's see what happens as we continue on. Alright, 5 for Toad right there. And he gets 3 mini stars. And it's time to shuffle the turn order. And I go next. I have 2. Alright, I'm gonna go up. So that gives me a spin space. What do we get? I would get to steal 3 mini stars from a rival. Alright, so Toad's got the most out of all my opponents, so I'm going to steal some mini stars from him. Burrow's going to bring out a 4, 5, 6 dice block. She gets a 4. Let's see what she gets on this spin space. Oh, the item shovel. Okay. Alright, looks like Toad now ends up with that 1, 2, 3 dice block. Alright, anyways, it's Toad's turn right now. He ends up with a 4. And he gets 5 mini stars. He's also gonna get a dice block. And it's a 0 for 1 dice block. There's still something inside. It's a mini game. Alright, we're playing Jigsaw Jumble.
Start.
Alright, let's work on completing these puzzles here. Alright, that's 1. Alright, there's 2. Alright, that's 3. Alright, that's 4. Alright, 1 more. There we go. Got the win.
Finish.
Alright, 5 mini stars coming my way. Let's see what Cooper rolls here. A 5. So he's going to be in control of this captain event. Alright, it's time to salvage some mini stars deep beneath the waves. Alright, we already know the rules of the Sunken Treasure Captain event. Alright, so we got 10 mini stars on each of our diving platforms. Alright, looks like Koopa is going to choose the regular dice block first. Alright, Koopa's gonna get a 6. I got a 4. That's a pretty good roll. Burrow gets a 5. And Toad gets a 2. And it looks like Toad is already going to lose some mini stars. Nice try. Alright, which dice block is Koopa going to choose next? The 4, 5, 6 dice block. Alright, 6 for Koopa right there. Alright, I also get a 6. Awesome. 6 for Birdo as well. And a 6 for Toad. So literally everybody got a 6 right there with the 4, 5, 6 dice block. And me, Koopa, and Birdo all have successful salvages. But Toad is losing some more mini stars here. So just like that, Toad went down to no mini stars, so his salvage was not successful. But anyways, let's see how many mini stars each of us got. Koopa got 10. I get 10 as well. Burrow also gets 10. And like I just mentioned, Toad ended up with nothing. Alright, that's it for the Sunken Treasure. Now it's back to the board. Oh, 1. But we do land on a dash base, so we do get to hit the dice block again. It's 2. And we are shuffling the turn order again. Alright, who goes next? It's Koopa. 3. Alright, he does get 5 mini stars. And he's also gonna get a 4, 5, 6 dice block. My turn. Oh, a 3! I'm gonna be just short of those mini stars right here. And not only that, we're playing another Bowser Jr. mini game. It looks like I'm paired up with Birdo. I want a different mini game, please. Looks like I'm playing Double Pounder. Alright, I think this one should be very simple. Just gotta ground pound all these switches here. There we go. Simple as that. Alright, 5 mini stars for me and Burrow right there. Alright, anyways, let's see what Burrow's gonna roll here. A 6. So it looks like she's ending up with 2 sets of mini stars. And she's landing on an unlucky space, so now we're about to get caught by this whirlpool here. That's not good. So all because we got caught by the whirlpool, it's going to send us back 2 spaces after each turn until we can escape. Toad gets himself 5. And he's losing some mini stars. The whirlpool is sending us back here. Koopa's bringing out his 4, 5, 6 dice block, and he gets a 4. Looks like he's also losing mini stars. And it's time for the whirlpool to push us back some more. Alright, if we can get a 6, we can get that lucky space. That sure would be pretty nice. Well, we're not going to quite do that here, but we do get a 4. At least on the bright side, we do get a dash space. Oh! We were so close to escaping, but all because we got a 1. We're going to unfortunately lose many stars right there. Oh, that hurts. And back we go again. Alright, 6 for Burrow. At least we're now out of the whirlpool, thank goodness. Alright, looks like we're going down. There's a spin space for Burrow. And she's going to get herself a 4, 5, 6 dice block. Alright, Toad gets a 6. And he gets 5 mini stars. Oh boy! Toad just landed on an event space, so now all the mini stars are going to become mini Z-tars. Alright, Koopa gets a 2, and he's losing some mini stars. And there's another event space. So we're gonna get those mini stars back in place so quickly. Alright, back to me. Father Hire will get that Captain Event space. Alright, 3. We're almost there. So let's see the current standings right now. I'm in first place with 52 mini stars. Burrow's in second with 42. Toad's in third, 28. And Koopa's in last with 22. And since Koopa's in last place, he gets a slow dice block. And there's Bowser. Doesn't really matter what we do, we're still gonna get some more Bowser spaces either way. Alright, we have 3 additional Bowser spaces. Alright, 10 mini stars should be there. Let's see what kind of dice block we're gonna get. A 0 through 1 dice block. There's still something inside. It's another mini game. Alright, since we're getting close to the end of the game, the player in last place is going to choose the mini game this time, and it's Koopa. And we're playing Goomba Spy. This one I'm certainly good at. Alright, let's do this.
Start.
Alright, 38 was my guess. Let's see what the correct answer is. It is 38, so I got it right on the nose. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, so we are going to get 5 mini stars there. Alright, let's head to Birdo. She is bringing out her 4, 5, 6 dice block. She gets a 6 right there with that. Either way, she is going to get that Captain Event space. Alright, it's time to salvage some more mini stars. Alright, this time, each of our diving platforms has 15 mini stars. Alright, Burrow's gonna pick the 4, 5, 6 dice block first. Alright, Burrow rolls a 4. Toad rolls a 6. Koopa rolls a 5. And what do I get? 5. And Burrow and Toad are losing many stars. Too bad. Alright, now Burrow's gonna pick the regular dice block next. Alright, 1 for Birdo. 3 for Toad. That's 6 for Koopa. And I get a 4. And Koopa has successful salvage. Alright, only the 1, 2, 3 dice block is left. So no matter what Birdo gets right here, she's not going to have a successful salvage here. She ends up with a 1. And no matter what me and Toad get, we're both gonna have a successful salvage. Alright, Toad gets a 3. And I end up with a 2. Alright, how many mini stars did each of us get? Burrow was not able to get any. Toad got 10. Koopa got 15. And I also got 15. That's awesome. Alright, that wraps things up for this sunken treasure. Alright, let's go back to Toad. Alright, he gets a 1 on that 1, 2, 3 dice block. And he's going to get himself another 1, 2, 3 dice block. Let's head back to Koopa. He's bringing out a slow dice block. He's going with a 4. That will make him land on a lucky space. So we're going to be following some dolphins now. Alright, so we're now on Star Island, and once somebody gets the 10 mini stars in the center, we'll all go back to the original route. Alright, anyways, let's see what Koopa's gonna roll now. A 6. So he was able to get 2 sets of mini stars there. Koopa's gonna get a 0 for 1 dice block. Alright, over to me. Alright, looks like a 4. I am gonna get a couple sets of mini stars. And I'm also gonna be landing on a dash space. So I'm gonna be able to hit that dice block again. Alright, there's a 6. And there's another 2 sets of mini stars for me. We're up to 94 mini stars right now, which is very impressive. And I get a 1 for 10 dice block. That's very nice.